Hello friends, welcome to LNC Pro, a platform for law and commerce students. Today we will learn about public interest litigation, which is a result of judicial activism. I am Ratnesh Parikh. The importance of PIL can be seen in PUCL versus Union of India. In this case, it was said that PIL is a strategic arm of the legal aid movement and it is intended to bring justice within the reach of the poor masses, who constitute low visibility area of humanity. So let's start by seeing things that we will cover in this video. In this video we will see introduction, meaning and definition of PIL. We'll see legal history of PIL, the issue of Locus Standi, guidelines given by the Supreme Court, contributing factors in the growth of PIL. We will also see subject matters covered under PIL, subject matters that are not covered under PIL. We will see main aspects of PIL, epistolary jurisdiction, and some landmark decisions. A recent development of the great consequence in the Indian law is the sanctioning of PIL by the Supreme Court. Such litigation envisages two types of things. First, a court action by an individual or a group of individuals belonging to a community against an administrative wrong affecting the members of that community. Second, a court action by a public-spirited citizen or a body devoted to public to vindicate the rights, though the person or body may not have suffered any injury. In 1970s and 80s, litigation in India was seen as a private pursuit for vindication of private vested interest. But then, the Supreme Court of India gave all individuals or social action groups or an easier access to the law and introduced a broad public interest perspective in the work. Public interest litigation, in simple words, means litigation filed in a court of law for the protection of public interest. It is not defined in any statute, but it has been interpreted by the courts to consider the intent of public at large. According to Black's Law Dictionary, public interest is something in which the public, the community at large, has some interest, by which their legal rights or liabilities are affected. So now let's see the legal history of PIL. Indian PIL is the improved version of PIL in USA. The emergency period from 1975 to 77 witnessed colonial nature of the Indian legal system. During emergency, lawlessness was widespread. The post-emergency period provided an occasion for the Supreme Court to openly disregard the impediments of Anglo-Saxon procedure in providing access to justice to the poor. Before 1980, only the aggrieved party could knock the doors of justice, as only the affected party had the locus standi, and as a result there was hardly any link between rights given by the Constitution, laws made by legislature, and poor and illiterate citizens of India. However, all this gradually changed when the post-emergency period Supreme Court tackled the problem of access to justice and made radical changes in the requirements of locus standi. Efforts made by Justice P.N. Bhagwati and Justice V.R. Krishna Iyer were instrumental in juristic revolution of 80s that converted the apex court of India into the Supreme Court of India. Now let's see the issue of locus standi. The major hurdle in way of PIL was the traditional way of locus standi, which permitted only the aggrieved party to seek remedy. Justice P.N. Bhagwati in S.P. Gupta vs. Union of India said that if no one can maintain an action for such public wrong, it would be disastrous for rule of law. Therefore, he articulated the concept of PIL. He said, where a legal wrong is caused to a person or a determinate class of persons by reason of violation of a legal right, and such class is helpless or disadvantaged to approach the court for relief, any member of the public can maintain an application for an appropriate direction or order in High Court under Article 226 and in Supreme Court under Article 32. In Indian Banks Association Bombay vs. Devika Consultancy Services, Supreme Court held that in an appropriate case where petitioner moved a court in his private interest, the court in furtherance of a public interest may treat it as a necessity to inquire into the state of affairs. Thus, a private interest case can also be treated as public interest case. Now we will see guidelines given by the Supreme Court. Any member of public having sufficient interest may maintain an action by way of PIL provided there is a personal injury to a disadvantaged section of the population for whom access to the legal system is difficult. Second, the person bringing the actions has sufficient interest to maintain an action of public injury. The injury must have arisen because of breach of public duty or violation of law. Now, fourth one is it must seek enforcement of such public duty or legal provision. It is ultimately for the court to decide whether the petitioner fulfills the qualification or not. The court will seek to exclude such petitioners as may be motivated by political or selfish motives. Now, PIL is a concept that evolved over a period of time, and there are certain factors that contributed in the growth of PIL. Among many factors that have contributed in growth of PIL in India, the following are paramount. Part 3 and Part 4 of Constitution of India, because it provides a framework for regulation between the state and citizens. Second, progressive social legislations in India. The liberal interpretation of locus standi and in some cases suo motu actions by the courts. Sensitive judges have constantly innovated on the side of the poor. For instance, in Bandhua Mukti Morcha vs. Union of India, the Supreme Court put the burden of proof on the respondent. In PIL cases, where the petitioner is not in a position to provide all necessary evidence, either because of voluminous or because of parties are weak, courts have appointed commissioners to collect information and present it before the court. Now let's see the subject matters that are covered under PIL. Bonded labor matters, matters of neglected children, exploitation of casual laborers, non-payment of wages to laborers, matters of harassment or torture of persons belonging to SC/ST community, matters relating to environmental pollution, drugs and food adulteration matters, maintenance of heritage and culture, petitions from riot victims, and other matters of public importance. This list is illustrative and not exhaustive. Now let's see the subject matters that are not covered under PIL. Threat to or harassment of the petitioner by private persons, seeking inquiry by an agency other than local police, seeking police protection, landlord and tenant disputes, early hearing of matters pending in high courts and subordinate courts, and other matters that are of private nature. Now, there are 5 important aspects, main aspects of PIL. Let's see what are those. It is remedial in nature as it provides remedies to the aggrieved parties. Second, it allows representative standing as it empowers other people to fight for helpless people. It supports the doctrine of citizen standing. Fourth, it relaxes the strict rule of locus standi. And fifth one is the epistolary jurisdiction. Epistolary jurisdiction can be understood by Sunil Batra vs. Delhi administration case. PIL acquired a new dimension in this case, and epistolary jurisdiction was introduced in PIL. This case was initiated by a letter that was written by a prisoner to a judge of Supreme Court. The court treated the letter as a writ petition. Now let's see some landmark decisions on PIL. Hussain Ara Khatun vs. State of Bihar. This case is one of the earliest cases of PIL. This case is concerned with a series of articles published in prominent newspapers which expressed the plight of under trial prisoners in Bihar. A writ petition was filed by an advocate. Many of them were in jail for longer periods than the maximum permissible sentences for offences they had been charged with. The Supreme Court accepted the locus standi of the advocate to maintain the writ petition. Next case is Upendra Baxi vs. Union of India. In this case, 2 noted professors of law filed writ petitions in the Supreme Court highlighting various abuses of law which they asserted were violation of Article 21 of the Constitution of India. It included inhuman conditions in protective homes, trafficking of women and non-payment wages to bonded laborers. The Supreme Court accepted their locus standi to represent suffering masses. In Bandhua Mukti Morcha vs. Union of India. In this case, court's attention was drawn to the widespread incidence of the old-aged practice of bonded labor which persists despite the constitutional prohibition. In Sheela barse vs. State of Maharashtra, a journalist took the plight of women prisoners who were confined in the police jails in Bombay. She asserted that they were victims of custodial violence. The court took cognizance of the matter. Next case is very important, SP Gupta vs Union of India. In this case, a powerful thrust was given to the PIL by a 7-judge bench. The judgment recognized the Locus Standi of Bar Association to file the writ petition by way of PIL. This was the PIL. If you want to grow our channel and want to spread us more knowledge, please subscribe to our channel. And feel free to suggest us topics on which you want us to upload a video. Please like the video, share it with your friends, and comment your suggestions. Thank you.